get together and get
putting
this
up
thing done.
emojis.
Thank you. See you next week.
Can I make a comment, Bob?
No,
Where's
you-
my cigars, Bob?
Where's your
Okay,
address?
now you can make a comment.
Address, Ted.
Can I make a comment,
How
Bob?
does that work? Okay, real quick.
So
Let me tell you a couple
it's
things.
it's a
Let me tell you a couple
solution
things
to the
real quick. I'm still on
problem.
the topic. We're
Can
Hold
I
on,
make
we're gonna
recording-
link the Zoom call. Hold on one sec. Got words going everywhere. Gonna link the Zoom call to y'all, or link to the
Okay.
Zoom call. Okay, what was that, Ted?
So
Yeah, Chris-
first thing is that the smartphone also had some benefits to it. One was when my daughters were in school, like in junior high, and let's say they had to go miss something for a dentist appointment or they were sick, you know what happened? The teacher told them, hey, have your friend take a picture of the homework assignment right here on the wall. So you weren't excused if you missed a day. That's one thing. 2 is location. You know where they are. 3 is if they're in trouble, they can call you. So that was a benefit. Now let me flip another side of this. I've applied to Facebook so many times for recruiters that they probably have wallpapered at least one conference room with my resume at Facebook. And one of the jobs I was up for was a marketing job. If, for example, if you owned a chain of restaurants, a chain of dry cleaners, or tire stores or something, they can correlate where people are
Yeah.
to store, location of the store. And if you had a special, let's say you had spaghetti night on Tuesday nights, you could send out 1,000 ads or feeds to those people in that area, in a 6-mile area,
I know.
10 miles, just for that one spaghetti store,
Yeah.
not the one 30 miles away,
Right.
but the one right there.
They know where
And
you
that's-
are. They know where you are.
And
Yeah.
that's what part of the business
You
they
guys-
were built on.
You guys in
They're
the peanut
people who
gallery.
paid to have that service.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
let's
can
see
I-
if the
Can I make a
let's
suggestion?
see if
Bob,
the
can I make
peanut
a
gallery,
suggestion?
if the peanut gallery wants to throw in a brief comment or two, and let each of the peanut gallery say something.
Yeah, Bob.
Don, take it away.
Been trying to say something that'll make Ted happy and make Michelle happy. Ted wants,
Michelle smiles all the time.
Ted wants parental control. There's something that could be done on the phones analogous to what we have. I'm retired Ford Engineering, called My Key, where the parent controls the speed that a child, can I speak? The speed that a child can go. In other words, have a control built into the hardware on the phones that would control specifically the parameters that the parents will allow you to use as a child. Who has to do that, Michelle? The government has to specify, that has to be done. But it could be done. There's no question. We can do it on a car easily, okay? And it's been there for years. So it can be done on a phone as well, okay? And you could therefore leave the functions such as tracking. People like to know where their kids are, such as calculators. Kids like to
Oh
use
yeah.
calculators in class.
Yeah,
You
good
leave all
point.
those functions alone, okay, and just control specifically what the parent, as per what Ted said, what the parent
Perfect.
feels.
Perfect stuff. Good stuff.
Okay, Rosalind. Hey, Rosalind, you
Oh, I'm dying to hear Rosalind.
I want to hear Rosalind. I know that. I
Yeah.
couldn't turn you. I was able to move Michelle over to the right. I couldn't see doing that to you, Rosalind. I already had the left all book. So, and I know
I wanna
you're
hear
around
Rosalind.
these kids. What is there some problems we haven't thought about with this anxious generation? What else?
Well, the anxious generation is always on the phone. They'd come to their classroom and they'd sit there, and the first thing they do, did you see this? 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 And we'd have to go through them looking at their phones and comparing who does this and who does that, and so on and so forth. And I think I mentioned to you there was a high school that I was substitute teaching at, and they were all celebrating the fact that the kids were going to be banned from this elementary school.
Uh-huh.
And the elementary school was looking to ban the phones from the kids and so on and so forth. And I think it was interesting because I went ahead and I read that piece on the story about the anxious generation. And it makes so much sense because, kids don't learn how to play. And if they don't learn how to play, they don't learn how to socialize. And
Yeah.
people send texts and the texts don't make any sense because they're so used to just picketing that grammar has just gone out the door, and people don't make phone calls anymore because they're just into texting. So that is what I have to say on my 2 cents of
Hey, Hey, Joe, do they, is this an issue, anxious generation? Is this a big issue?
I don't even know what we're talking about yet.
Oh, did you come in late again?
I did. I'm sorry.
You came in late again. Okay. What we're talking about is young people of a certain age, Gen Z, but pretty much young kids are more anxious these days. They're committing suicide, they're worrying about this, and so is it social media deciding all this? It's more than just social media, clearly. But that's what we're talking about, Joe. So I was hoping you'd learn something. Well, we can go to somebody else. Rich Ongaro. What do you think of this?
I just want to add, first of all, I've got 9 grandchildren. And I can tell you that I have a 6-year-old grandchild who taught my wife and I how to use our iPhone. And when I was 6 years old, I was eating dirt. So I would tell you, in terms of technology, I think there's got to be a balance. But I think the answer is the parents. I don't think the answer is the government. I think the answer is the parents. I can tell you that I have also seen kids out to dinner and they're on their phone and the whole family's there. But that's the decision of the parents. That's not my decision to make of how other parents handle their kids. But I do think that there needs to be a balance when they get to school. When they get to school, they're supposed to be learning. So if they decided to take the phones away while they're in school or whatever, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think they'll experiment with it. But I do not believe the government in any way can do anything except screw things up. You can give the government a free coloring book and they would mess up the crayon.
Well, that is probably true. Okay, Tiberius wants to jump in here. Joe Boy's son wants to jump in. Tiberius, take it away.
Hello, I'm right here, and I
Hi.
gotta say, there is an easy fix or a hard fix. The hard fix is the government, fortunately, and the easy fix is parents. Now,
Yeah.
the thing is, I have written a letter because in class, in my civics class, we had to go off of a subject and write a letter to one of the businessmen in Congress. I wrote a letter to, I believe it was Representative Soto in the House of Representatives.
Nice.
And I had to write a letter to him. And I also, my newest guest on my radio show, Anna Escamani, the Florida House of Representatives, as you might know, that they passed a bill saying that all
Yes.
kids under 16 have to be banned off of social media.
Yes.
And I also wrote a letter to her as well. And it's a really easy fix. Identification cards. We have
Age verification.
IDs, and the thing is, if you're 15, you can get a driver's license, and if you're 5 and younger, you can't get a state ID. If you're older than 5, you can get a state ID. That's how identification can work. 6-year-olds, yes, they can get a state ID and get online, but if you don't have, if you're a minor, you have to have parental configuration, and it's as easy as that. The government, the thing is, you can't tell kids what's bad and what's good because it's the parents' decision. You can't just have the government decide what's bad. Like, what if they said third side combo is bad? Then they would have to ban third side combo.
They do it already, Tiberius. They're doing it already.
Even my show, if they said it's bad, then it would be banned. So what would you all decide?
See, that's why we got to get young people on here, you guys.
Tiberius and I talked about this a lot. I think his idea could be done with the parental control and the ID idea, which is a great idea, and integrate that in with what I was telling you about, something similar to the My Key control on an automotive key, where the parent can say, these are the constraints that my child is going to have at this point in time, and then modify it as they grow older.
Well, Tiberius and I have had chats about this quite often because we really care about this subject. And one of the things we figured out was it really matters. And having a parent with a state ID, and Facebook already has the technology because they required a state ID from me because my name was Joe Boy and they didn't believe my last name was Boy. So they wanted my state ID. So they already have a system to accept my state ID to prove my identity to allow me to have my Facebook account the way I want it. So if they can do that, then they should certainly be able to do it for a minor. And this is attached to say, I can see whatever he does on his social media. So I can guide him through and explain, this is what you're doing. I don't like banning them until they're 16 years old because now I only have 2 years to teach them about social media and what it does and how it's designed to make you suck in. It's algorithms designed to suck away and help decide and push you to like these products, vote for these people, think this way. It's a lot of manipulative stuff to do with your algorithms and only show you things to guide you a certain direction. There are people that have found so many things about themselves they didn't know. Back when they first started showing off that the algorithms worked, they were sending advertisements for gay cruises to people that hadn't gone out and said they were gay yet. And their parents were like, "You're not gay, are you?" That's how good the algorithm is. You're not going to beat it. I don't care how smart you think you are going to be controlled by the content that you're being fed. You have to decide whether or not as a parent you can guide those steps through. And I think that Tiberius's idea is an awesome idea.
Yeah, and the Facebook thing is true. My Facebook page says TIBERUSBOYD, not BOY. Trust me, we've been trying to fix it.
I'll tell you one thing, the companies have a hard time controlling content, Facebook and Instagram particularly. And you think it's bad in the US? Try India. China, not so much. China's really shut down and cut down on it. But India, Russia, Eastern Europe, the false information you get coming through these outlets is just out of control. And Facebook can't do anything about it. There's news sites showing up all the time with misinformation on everything from teen pregnancy to President Zelensky of Ukraine. So it's really difficult. And YouTube does it as well. They scan and scan and scan, and they kick off thousands of things all the time, and it's not nearly enough.
But it's not against the law to lie in the United States. It's
Yes.
freedom of speech, and you're allowed to lie. So if you're going to ban someone telling a lie or a falsehood or what they think is a falsehood, or possibly they just misunderstood. I mean, we were told a lot of things about masks. We find out now that weren't true. Should we
Sure.
go after everybody who said
Yes.
masks had to be worn during COVID?
Oh, masks.
It all works.
It's been
in
debunked.
85? We can go debate that kind of stuff, but it's not going to matter because now it's all found out. Hey, listen, those masks didn't work. Certain masks did. That misinformation was spread around for forever. Who you
There's
gonna
been
blame?
a thing where with social media and sort of the concept of the avatar, where your life exists as this separate second thing online, where there becomes this thing where all opinions matter and all opinions are valid. Bullshit. Some opinions are stupid, and they don't need to be entertained, and we don't need to stroke the egos of all the village idiots who managed to find each other at the rise of social media. Every village idiot was able to find each other and make a community. And village idiots
I
unite.
found you.
Of course, and we must be heard. It's like, no, we don't. You're idiots.
Alan, I used to say that the internet was an explosion of information. Oh, this is gonna be great. Well, no, it's there is explosion of information. A lot of it bad, a lot of it good, a lot of it great. But you know what? People don't go to the internet. Most people don't go on the internet looking for information. They look for affirmation. They
Yeah.
find the tribe where they live, and they go feel safe and say, "Oh yeah, Biden's the worst president in the world."
Oh, hit him.
Yeah.
Hit him.
What?
Yeah. So
Hold
there you
on,
go.
Ted. Hold on, Ted.
Hit
Hold on. Look.
No.
Well, that's right.
You got slammed.
It wasn't on the show. That's right. Sorry about that.
Well, we were just showing you to warn you just in case in the future what Joe Boy
That was a
came
good
up
one.
with
That was
this
a good
last week.
Oh, that's pretty good. Hey, we got just
Wait,
one.
We were hoping, Ted, we were really hoping you would do that so we could show it to you, okay?
Right. One thing about the media, you guys got to remember, it's like everything else. There's money to be made. It's as long as the money being made off something, it's going to stick around. So misinformation is just about good information. So how our society is, it's about everything. They've been trying to get rid of the war on drugs for years, but we know there's money in it. They've been trying to get rid of the homeless but there's money in it. Somebody's making money off of everything we do. And we got to be aware when we go in that in the media, if they're making fun of, and they're making fun of who or other persons, they're making money. So they're in the money business too. It's like everything else. So that's what we have to curb is this capitalism on everything,
So Don, here's one for you.
Yeah, we want all.
Don, here's one for you.
Bob,
read
I
about-
thought we were polling the peanut gallery, but maybe I misunderstood.
Oh, Ted, you got shut down.
That happens.
You go,
Well, it wasn't-
Ollie. Tell
It
us,
wasn't
Ollie.
just- It wasn't just him. It's been going on for the last 5 minutes. So I had two
Right.
comments for what it's worth. One was when Bob was throwing my kids under the bus.
I didn't think you were on at that time.
Oh yeah, I heard every word. And the other was I want to start getting a dime for every time, and it's been going on for like 3-4 weeks now, that Michelle says with regards to, when in fact
Oh,
she should
I
be
do.
saying with regard to.
Oh my gosh. Belly Jeeper, thank you for being here.
Roz is gonna be all over it. Roz is gonna be all over it, you know.
You must
She's
be
a-
great with you welcome and intensive purposes. You probably get that all the time. What
Hey,
purposes
Ollie,
are
can I at
intensive?
least say at least your kids actually come to the family dinner?
From time to time.
There you go. At least they come.
Hey,
just need
you
to
guys, one
understand
thing
that
on the
we are-
peanut gallery, I just saw this part about the peanut gallery, the reaction buttons. If you don't want to speak and you're muted, you can do the reaction. You can put a thumbs up or thumbs in the conversation, because it will show up on the screen. I just saw that, so I was making reactions with the reaction buttons.
Where's that?
It's like the 6th one over. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th one over next to the apps. It has a little smiley face on it and a
Oh, I
plus.
see. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, you can make
At your service.
thumbs. I just realized that, so you can do that in the future.
So something that got missed during the show is that we are the product. We are the product when something's free. You want to tax on that's already free? It's free. Government can't tax Facebook if it's already free. So you'd have to charge a fee for Facebook, and that would change a lot because a lot of people would stop using it. If you had to pay just $10 a month, a lot of people would stop using it. So that would stop a lot of usage, but it's free because they want your analytics. They want to know
Yeah.
where you go, what you buy. I literally had my phone off, talked about horse carriage ride poop collectors just to prove that later on Facebook, it popped up with an ad for a new product that will collect poop from a horse. It's that
Exactly.
simple. And I wasn't talking on the phone. I just had the phone next to me. It's
That happens all the
analytics.
time. It's so spooky.
How much was it?
And they're doing it for your kids.
Oh yeah. You don't think Sega and EA and the gamers don't know what's going on there? Oh yeah, they tap into that deep.
That's true.
Music, the music scene. Huh.
Oh, don't even get me started about music and social media.
Yeah.
Well, we heard
It-
Steve likes Tiberius's idea. What about Rosalind and Rich? Do you guys think Tiberius's idea might have some merit?
I do. I think it's got a lot of merit.
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, if you had to go through all that crap to go ahead and get your ID, the technology is certainly out there. Why couldn't we just cross fertilize it and make it happen?
Absolutely.
And
Here's
he
one
did
for
send
you.
those letters to both of the people in the House of Representatives. Of course, they passed the bill anyway, and it's supposed to start in July. We'll see what happens.
Here's one for you. For me to activate my phone, I don't have a facial recognition, but I have to have a fingerprint. And I think when you get your state ID and at 12, you include the fingerprint, so that he goes onto a site that he shouldn't be on. He goes, boop, you're underage, through the fingernet that's correlated on to get into your smartphone. That's what I think.
Or the
Now-
Face ID.
That would be a good one.
You can do it with Face
I like
ID.
that.
too.
Well,
Yeah.
there already is a lot of controls you can do, but because the law says you have to do it till you're 13, Google will lock your Google phone and make sure
Yeah.
a parent can control it until they're 13. As soon as
Right.
Tiberius turned 13, I had to turn him into an employee so I could continue the protections on his phone, because I pay for that phone. And as
Yep.
the person who pays for the phone, I should be responsible for what he does on it. And I want to know what he searches. And trust me, he searches some bad stuff sometimes. So I want to make sure that I know it and can talk to him about those searches and why he's going there. And so I had to turn around and say he was an employee of my company to continue to allow to control the phone, which of course costs a lot more than if he was a child. But I personally think they should do it till they're 18 to let the parents still control all social media and your electronic devices and stuff like that, because they're all attached to social media.
Yes.
Well, I think that the
What about Joe?
head fingerprint idea would work. I think that it would be met with incredibly vocal resistance from certain groups of civil libertarians, certain
Absolutely.
religious right, who would be screaming about the mark of the beast and like all of that kind of thing. But the basic idea of what you're talking about, I happen to like. I just don't think that it's viable.
Well, if they're already doing it to make sure my name's spelled correctly and that I'm not lying about who I am, I don't see why they can't just say all Facebook accounts require some sort of government ID. Now you know who it is.
Yeah,
Well,
but there's no
we would- we
advantage
would
to
ne-
them to
we would
do it,
never
like Don
have
was
any
talking about.
idea.
Money.
I'm saying, there's no advantage.
But that's
See,
why I
the
said
other thing,
if you
though, is that-
legislated that the companies who produce the hardware and software had to make it so that a parent could go in, again, I'll use the analogy of the Ford My Key system, and give certain permissions. Why couldn't that be done?
It has to be done globally, not just.
And my hand is being raised, being polite. As I am online, and believe how difficult it is for me to take a little picture, load it up there, and I still haven't finished with it because they can't confirm I am who I am. Go find some live person to go ahead and do it. So it's out there. It's crazy having to prove who you are. You know, I've been in this working world for how long? And they can't see by my driver's license. You have to get your passport out and this out and that out and so on and so forth. It's absurd. Besides the absurdity, you know, they tell you there are jobs that are available of this, that, and the other, and you go through all this bogus jobs that are nothing like what you are even looking for. So it's a crazy world out there.
So Joe, are you gonna get in trouble now because you're employing? Are you gonna get in trouble now, Joe, because you're employing a third?
I'm sure. I'm
Not in
sure.
Florida.
As long as you're related,
I'll
you're
bring
allowed to
the
do that.
laws.
Ask anyone who owns a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, but his
Or a
last name
farm.
his last name is different from yours. He
That's
said he
the next
added a D at the end. He said his last name was Boyd. I'm just kidding.
Well, that's because we haven't been able to submit his ID yet because now with the law change, I don't want them to take away his account.
I just think it has to be done on all platforms because what's going to happen, we were saying it earlier in the peanut gallery while you guys were talking, is if you do something, a lot of kids are not, they don't think Facebook is cool anymore. So they've gone to other things. So if you do it on one, you got to do it on everyone's. Otherwise, they're going to go to the one that's still cool and the one they can still do things on versus the one that has a control. So that's the controls have to be across the board.
Well, I use Facebook as an example because they own Instagram. They own a lot
Yeah,
of
they
other
own
companies.
everything.
They own Snapchat
They don't own
and so forth.
TikTok, though. They
But
don't own
Google
TikTok.
owns the YouTube
Yeah,
world.
I think TikTok's the only one that isn't.
Yeah, TikTok's owned by the Chinese government.
Yes.
Yeah, TikTok is one I do not allow Tiberius to get anywhere close. And people keep saying, oh, we got to get him on there. He'll get popular. Being popular is great. Being popular because you're giving away all your information to the Chinese government is probably not a good idea. So I'm not letting him go on
Right.
TikTok.
And back to you, Joe Boy, what you said about, Facebook is free, Instagram is free. You also freely give them information in your profile
Oh, absolutely.
and pictures. So what that does is make it extra hard for have any recourse if someone starts defaming you online. Two things happen. To defame, you have to be wronged and it has to be a lie. The problem is, who are you going to sue? Am I going to sue Joe Boy or I'm going to sue Hearst Newspapers? Hearst Newspapers has money. Joe Boy doesn't have any money. So where is it going to go? The defamation goes nowhere. The defamation case goes nowhere. So that's why the slurring and the slandering and all that stuff is sometimes out of control. And I said it's worse in India. Believe me, it's
Well,
worse in India.
I have seen a lot of stuff go on. I stopped Tiberius from watching a video series called Gotcha Life. It literally encourages kids to kill themselves, to goodbye cruel world and be done with the world. Everyone complains. Everyone says all the horrible things in their life. And then they should end it all. And that's very popular on YouTube right now. And
Right.
so I said, Tiberius, you got to stay away from this stuff. And I try to make a positive guide because you can custom make your own. So I made a positive one and I got completely shut down for it. And so it was crazy. They want to promote that negativity. They want to promote that stuff. And Tiberius around. But as his father, I could guide him through and double check it because to maintain and control his account because they think I'm his employer. So they could do it. They do it till he's 13. So if you can do that, just for that, we should be able to do across the board until kids are 18.
Hey, I just want to, while we're getting near the end, I just want to, hey, Don, I made you the host again. So I know you're recording this, so.
Cool.
Richard, it was so good to have you on. I really appreciate your opinions. I know Bob was just very happy to have you here and talking about this stuff.
Thank you.
I don't appreciate Rich's opinions, but I do like that he's very technically savvy and is a great host on Zoom. Please come back again, Rich.
Okay,
How about any
thank you.
final thoughts from the peanut gallery?
I think
How'd
it
our
was- I think it was a
panel
good
do
discussion.
today?
Well, you guys, some guys still, Stephen didn't get the concept that we can't hear you. He can't hear you guys. You guys can't hear him when he's speaking in the peanut gallery. So he kept trying to speak. I said, you can speak. And he kept trying to speak. So you guys got to remember, they can't hear you when they're doing the show, but we can hear you in the peanut gallery. That's what the peanut gallery is for.
I think, Don, I think Steve was trying to get to Bob. I think he was trying to direct his comments to Bob. So that's why he was saying it over and over again.
Ah,
No, I was
And I-
saying
yeah,
it
me
over and
neither.
over again because there's a simple solution that
Yeah.
incorporates Joe Boy's son's idea with the government mandates that Michelle seems to want that would have to apply to the hardware and software in the phones.
Yeah.
Along with what was desired for parental control. So the technology, I'm convinced, could be easily developed and put in.
Well, the apps are there. You can also buy apps and put them on your kid's phone that limit where they go and what they see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pay
Yes.
about $200 a year for those to make sure Tiberius. And that's how I know when he searches for the
Yeah,
P
King.
word and other
Yeah.
things. Like, oh my gosh.
I'm making the assumption though, that means that everybody's gonna sit there and that are, you know what I mean, having these strict parental controls on their kid's phone. I mean, for the majority, they don't. For the majority of these parents just, you know what I mean, are hands off and let their kids do whatever it is they want to
But
go
that's
do.
the parent's decision. That is the parent's
I
decision.
know, it is a parent's decision.
There,
mean, it is
there,
a
there are
parent's
parents that have their kids free run around all the way down the street, up and down, and there are parents that don't. At least that's their choice. And when Tiberius and I talked about this in depth, he said, "Let the government control what's good and bad on the internet." And I says, "What if they don't like your show? What if they don't like the third side?" I says, "Because they wouldn't do that." I says, "Really?" I says, "The government says what can go in schools and not, right? They don't allow you to pray in school. They don't allow you to even do the Pledge of Allegiance in school anymore because the government
What?
says it's wrong. So if
Where
it's
was that at?
wrong, government, do you think it's wrong, Tiberius? No. I says that's why the parent needs to make those decisions, not the
They didn't
government.
do a
You
Pledge
allow
of
them to control
Allegiance?
everything.
They do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, they still do the
I know
Pledge of
they do the
Allegiance.
Pledge of Allegiance for fire.
They do it in my place.
man.
Yeah. And they play the national anthem before football and basketball games too. So
Yes.
that's true.
Right, that's
So,
true.
I mean, in reactionary Florida, you never know what's going on down there. Hell, they just banned the transgender care law that DeSantis put in. So what's going on?
Uh-oh, did it again.
Oh, no.
Did it again.
He said it again. No.
It's
Yeah.
$2 to the city.
$2 a kitty, I can make that. I can make that.
I love it.
So
I
make
love
it
it.
box in 19, Bob, instead of 20. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. All right. Anybody else, Joe? Finding some thoughts on there? Or
Joe.
who you got on? You're just having fun listening to
gotta
these
unmute
crazy
yourself.
people, huh?
Joe, got to unmute yourself. Joe,
Hold on.
you got to unmute yourself. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. I have an 11-year-old. I mean, he's pretty decent about what he looks through. And then I'm old school anyway. And it helps when you're 6'5", 280. I just like hand it to me and I just see what he's looking at and I just give it back. so I mean, yeah, I don't have any trouble out of him.
Yeah.
Wait
Yeah,
till
I'm
But
a
it is,
14-year-old,
it is
so I
an
know.
issue.
I got a 14-year-old. Just one quick thing about the information about what's out there. Because I, like I said, I work for Homeland Security and they have everything on everybody, man. You just go up, you could punch a button. If you got kids, they have your name and how many kids you have, family. Your information is already out there. So, just don't put some stuff out you don't like, pictures and stuff, but your basic information is out there for everybody to see. And it's already out there. So don't be all scared. It's already out there. So that's all I'm
Well,
saying.
Homeland Security does it for other purposes and so forth. But if you freely give away information on the social media, that's your choice. And guess what? I get hired to pull that stuff. I get
Yeah.
attorneys to hire me to here's the list of jurors for a trial. I need you to look up all the social media and tell me everything you can about them, so we
Yeah.
can decide how to deal with that thing. That's that juror's fault for putting their stuff out there.
Yeah.
That-
True.
Imagine that's your kid.
Well, I guess we've all determined it's all up to the parents, and it isn't easy to be a parent, is it?
No.
And it isn't easy to be the one that puts their foot down. But I guess what we can do is just urge everybody the consequences if they don't. For me, my kids are at an age where it wasn't so bad. Tommy didn't get that much into gaming. Lily's a little bit into this, but it happens. But it is not easy to be a parent and to control things. And you're right. And the government would probably screw it up if they did try to control it. And there'd be, like Jeff said, you got the unintended consequences of almost anything
Absolutely.
the government does.
That is true.
So
Bob,
other
there's
than that,
always-
let's go on and adjourn for the day, and we will be back again for another exciting topic. We'll get one with a little more division this time, so Ted can really go off. Ted was a little calm
Yeah.
today. We really don't like that, but Jeff's got to find his feet. Trent's got to jump in there. We are all going to be fine. And Michelle, it's good to see your smile. We'll
Yes.
see you next week on the Third Side Convo.
Bye,
Yeah.
guys.
Bye, guys. You got to have a meeting or get dinner.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah,